How's it going, critter people? I hope you all are doing well. We are covering a video by Ruff Beginnings Rehab Dog Training. We've covered a video from them in the past. This one is steps working a dog through serious fear issues. I was interested in seeing it because of the thumbnail that they have. They have a dog on a prong collar laying down next to, I think, a box, which we'll see is one of the dog's triggers that they're afraid of. So I just thought this would be interesting. I've seen the first minute, I think under a minute or so, and I thought, okay, this would be something good to go over. So using this footage under Fair Use Act for education, criticism, giving my point of view, not to be nasty to anyone, no personal, issues or feelings, just, a difference of opinion and, different experiences and whatnot. So I'm trying to give a voice to the dog and point out what the dog is saying versus what humans say the dog is saying. So if you're interested in listening to that, then let's get started.
Hey guys, Bethany Wilson here with Ruff Beginnings Rehab. I have strung several clips together of working through Ryder's phobia of boxes. But here's the thing, he doesn't just have a phobia of boxes. Now, a dog having a fear of something, of course you want to get them over that. Of course you want to work on that specific fear.
I see that as a great opportunity to strengthen your relationship with the dog by, the first time you see any kind of what might be an issue for you or a behavior that you don't like and you don't want to reinforce, that's the first thing we work on. We may be trying to teach a dog that we're going to walk, but the dog shows us that they need help. First and foremost, not being afraid of being outside. I always try to be very flexible to what the dog is asking and telling us and, what the dog is learning versus what I think I'm teaching them.
But Ryder's not just fearful of boxes. The other day I was carrying around a shovel, some potting soil, stuff like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's scared of the long line, like a long leash. I mean, he's scared of everything, especially something big and massive that you might, carry around. Boxes just happen to be high on the list. And because we recently moved, we have a lot of them still laying out. So that's what we're using. But it's not about the fear itself. It's really about developing a relationship with your dog.
Absolutely.
Where you can help them still move through those fears and listen to you. So if you tell a dog to stay and something scary happens, they stay. If you ask a dog to come to you and something scary happens or something scary gets in the way, they still come to you. So important. Like we've got a dog right now that has anxiety towards other dogs. She's very reactive.
I do like that she says it's anxiety. I appreciate that. That she's talking about at the core, it's nervousness and anxiety.
I think we'll see some pretty strong nervousness. It's going to be important to teach her that she can come to me even if there's a dog right there. Even if there's a dog kind of in between the two of us, I still need her to come to me and listen to me. So it's about teaching the basics and then about layering a level of accountability and then building that relationship with your dog.
So I'm going to pause right here real quick. A few things that pop up in my mind. That the first thing, accountability. I don't like when people use the word accountability because when we're referring to dogs in training because they put the accountability on the dog. Accountability should go on the human, not the dog. We put them in this situation. Secondly, yes, I understand there's times when you may need your dog to do this. Again, we prepare for the worst, but we don't expect it to happen. And that doesn't mean that we need to, automatically think every second we're outside our dog is going to die because an airplane is going to explode or something, or, a bunch of rabid guinea pigs are going to come running through the streets and trying to attack us and eat us all, okay? We may practice for that, but that's the point, is that we practice it for worst case scenario. But we want our dogs to be able to do it, or at least I teach dogs that to do it because they want to, because it's rewarding, it's reinforcing. And if there is a dog between myself and my dog, I wouldn't call them to me. I mean, here's hoping, unless there's a fire on the other side of him. I would hope I wouldn't put him between a rock and a hard place. That is not realistic to think every day. That if I had a dog in between myself and my Shiba, I wouldn't call him through the dog. I would move around. Again, unless every other option is taken and he's in between a hallway, then yeah, maybe, I might come to him. If I can't, then okay. I'm not going to put him in harm's way to come through this dog because a fight can break out, and I'm trying to help him, I end up making it worse. So just, it sounds like the scenario she's making is like, you only have one answer and one option, and chances are that if you're gonna be so unlucky that you end up in this situation, chances are you're not gonna have just that one option. So again, even if that is true, I still would like to be able to teach my dog to trust me, that if I do call him to me and I need him to come, that one, he trusts me enough to come to me, and two, I can be held accountable and I can be smart enough and think ahead that I'm not going to put him in more danger by trying to save him. You cause more danger trying to help animals sometimes, even though you mean well, it doesn't matter.
Where it doesn't matter whether you want to or not, you have to come to me or you have to stay.
And that's one thing I don't like, is that you have to. I mean, yes, there can be the times when I really need them to stay. There's a difference for me between need and have, again with the words. You have to do it. I don't care if you want to. No, that means that you don't have a relationship with your dog. I mean, and don't get this out of context. If you're if you're in a situation where your dog has to stay, you probably haven't worked with them enough. You haven't prepared them enough, because what happens if they don't stay? I mean, that's the whole thing, is that we work hard and it takes a lot of time and consistency and trust. If you want to have a good relationship with your dog, I would rather have my dog stay or come when I call, no matter what, because they want to, because they trust me, because I've taken the time, again, to prepare them for everything in the world that could possibly happen. Whether it's that herd of rabid guinea pigs going by, if you have a sight hound or you have a Malamute, they're not going to listen because they have to. Otherwise, you're going to have to use really harsh punishment and negative reinforcement. I want those dogs to be able to come because they want to, because I am better than anything in the environment and they trust me to keep them safe and not lie to them.
You have to listen to me. And then through that, whenever you find this relationship that balances on trust and respect, and you find that balance.
There's that balance. That to me is not, no. I would rather my dog trust me than respect me any day of the week. To me, having trust is so important. I mean, yeah, by being in my household and walking on a leash and eating at the times I feed him, I think that's enough respect. I mean, I think we need to gain our dog's respect, which we don't do enough of. Just because I exist does not mean anything has to respect me, let alone my dog, okay? He didn't ask to be put in this household. To end that rant, I would have my dog and any animal trust me over respect me any day. Because to me, having trust is respect. It goes both ways.
You're going to be able to help your dog cope with those things, and naturally, over time,
I don't know that you really help
with you
your
working
dog.
on them, of course, they will overcome them.
You're
it's like just
them,
natural counter conditioning. But with that being said, we are working on the fear stuff. We're using the boxes as a way for me to develop a relationship with Ryder, to be able to help him understand that if I tell him to stay, he can stay. If I ask him
he has to stay. See, she's changing her words that he can stay. Everything she says doesn't match up. She says one thing, but she's going to do another. So with counter conditioning, yes, if you do it correctly and you actually teach the dog to trust you, they will stay because they want to, not because they have to. They will stay because they find it rewarding. You actually teach them confidence, not that they are flooded and they are just so overstimulated that they shut down. There's a big difference.
He can move past a box. He can do that. So a lot of it is just relationship stuff. But bottom line, you cannot do these exercises just slipped on the floor, if you do not have a really strong place command. Now, in the video, we use a down stay as well. Place is actually better. That. Place gives the dog like these borders that it helps them understand that they stay in those borders.
No, you're forcing your dog by doing that.
And they'll be safe in those borders, and it
just
helps them
compartmentalize. Just because you say they'll be safe doesn't mean that they're going to feel safe.
And then we also use it for downstays. But you have to, and same with the recall, the come command, you have to have built up a level of not just, place down, this is fun, but a level of accountability where, no, you don't get up without permission.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that whole, you have to stay down in this, I'm going to put you, because it's too easy for people to abuse that power. That's you not having respect for your dog and not teaching your dog they can trust you. By allowing your dog to get up when they want to, and you don't have to do any of this. This is how I think and how I train it. If I were a dog, I would like to be respected like that. That, hey, mom, dad, trainer, whomever, I'm scared. And I don't want to have to be forced to sit here on this place surrounded by a bunch of boxes that may just look like boxes to you. But to me, it could look like a bunch of silverback gorillas. Or, I don't know, if you're afraid of giraffes or spiders or snakes or, fire, flames, whatever. And you just force them. And because there's a place that you can force them to stay on until they are given permission, it's that whole kind of master-slave relationship type idea. Now, I will say, I have no problem with teaching a place cue, not command, but cue. Again, words, very important. I'm not commanding my dog to do anything. I'm cueing them, and I build up on that behavior. If they get up, fine, no problem. I'll just work on a longer duration and change the environment. But I have no problem with a cue. I mean, not that anybody cares what I think. But if you want to teach them to go to a place, perfect. If you want to teach them a downstay on a place for a long period of time, that's great. Hopefully you can work your way up to it and you're not forcing your dog. But again, you teach however you want to. I'm not trying to change any trainer's mind out there or any person's mind out there that doesn't want to learn how I do things. Do whatever you want. I'm not saying that just because I don't use a crate or a place board that they're the devil, by any means. Just like anything, it can be used for malice, or it can be overused and abused.
If you don't have that, then it's same with the come command. If you don't come to me when I call, there's a level of accountability. I have to hold you accountable. No, get over it.
You need to hold yourself accountable. You did not prepare the dog. You worked too fast. You pushed the dog past a level of comfort, and now they're scared. And one, you're forcing them to be in a scary situation. Now you're forcing them to come to you through this scary situation, which is not realistic. Chances are they're not going to be trapped in a house that's, and the only way they can come to you is through a fiery hoop, okay? Chances are you can have them move around whatever it is that's scary. Go to another area. How about instead of standing still and remaining stationary like a bump on a log like so many people are, how about you move? You hold yourself accountable. Don't put it on the dog.
There has to be, however you choose to use corrections in your life.
No, there doesn't have to be any
accountability. You have to have that. No, you will never be able to work on fear issues.
That's bullshit. I call bullshit, and absolutely, that is just ignorance, and she's proving it. That she says, you have to do this, you have to do it my way, the way I believe, otherwise you're never going to get results. How the hell do I have results then? I get results every day. Cats, dogs, my ferret, and horses. I've worked with them in desensitizing them. Horses are flight animals. You can easily force them and abuse them. That happens every day. You can force them to go through something, but you know what? You're going to make them that much worse, that much more flighty. You a lot of times cause them to freak out and run through a fence because you're putting too much pressure on them because you think you need to show them who's boss.
You won't. You'll just, don't get me wrong.
No,
I've met
ignorance.
People. I've met a lot of people.
You are lying, or you're ignorant. You don't know what you don't know.
That have worked for years with their dog, with food redirection, and solely building up confidence around fear stuff for years, and made a little progress to quite a bit of progress.
Good.
And then I get a hold of them for a couple of weeks, and they're totally different.
So it's
now I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
No, you are. You're trying to say that the food trainers don't know what they're doing. Look, I would rather take years to get a dog more comfortable and better actual trust than have them go with you for 2 weeks and be flooded and terrified and have to rely on a shock collar and a prong collar because you force them to do it. And the dog really won't trust anybody. They just do it because it's learned helplessness.
That's not what this is about. I didn't come up with the type of training that I do. I've learned from other trainers, but I'm just saying.
You have no education. You learn from other people, but you don't have an actual education. If she does, what's her background? It's not anything recent. It's nothing that a dog psychologist or dog behaviorist would ever promote. It's outdated information.
You have to have that level of accountability with your dog,
have it.
or you can't do it.
No, you're an idiot. You're just a dummy. You don't know. I mean, the fact that she is out here saying, as if it's fact that you cannot, that is just an absolute lie. It's not true. I'm not saying she's purposely lying. And in the end, if you want to go follow her, by all means, go follow her. I'm not going to tell you not to follow her. You can call me an idiot. You can dislike the video. You can do whatever you want. By all means, support her business. Whatever you want to do. I will never tell you not to go support the person that I review. I'm just trying to talk for the dog. And as someone who has somewhat of an educated opinion, experience in that it's just not true. So
you just can't. All right.
No,
so
you can't.
On to the clips.
You're just a dummy. Just because you can't doesn't mean that I can't. This I do not like. Flooding. Okay. Now, she's habituating the dog. I'll play it while she's doing this. She's habituating the dog to the sound, but he has a shock collar on. Look at the whale eyes. He's a prong collar and a shock collar. He's being flooded. He's not comfortable. He's forced. Flooded. I wasn't sure if this dog was like a stuffed animal or not. Adorable. They're both so cute. So this dog is in a corner. He is trapped by one box between a rock and a hard place. He's not desensitized to the box, period, to that sound, let alone you just doing your workouts while he's trapped here. This is not a good idea.
Now, here's the thing. When you start to...
And I'll show you here. I'm going to put a clip in here after we show a couple of her examples of how I would do it. I mean, I've done videos before. I'll show you how I do it with my own dog. Oh, good touch. You're a good baby. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Oh, sorry.
on something that your dog is scared of. It can be very difficult
prong collar,
for them
shock collar
to cope with it. So it's like
if you have to use these tools, you don't know what you're doing. You don't have skill. Anybody can correct a dog for reacting. This poor little thing does not have any trust with her. It's force.
This has become routine.
Yawn, stress yawn.
So there was one morning where he came in here, laid
cutie
next to Dusty, and there were no boxes around him. It's like...
Sorry, I just want to say I love the little black marks on his feet. They look like little extra nails or little eyeballs. They're super cute.
You can't just make one situation
holding on to her remote.
Fear.
So she's ready to correct him.
Because then Ryder would never come in this room again, or it would just be really difficult to get him to do so.
Whale eyes, very nervous, closed
mouth. Let me
mouth.
just go over how, because your dog is going to get up in
that green light just means that it's on. If it turns red, you're going to see that she corrected it.
And how, you can reset that depending on what type of training you're doing.
How high is
with a
this?
leash or any collar. Down. Depending on what type of training you're doing, either.
Okay, so I was going to try and see what level she was on here, but I couldn't see it.
With a leash or any collar. Down.
So we don't know that she's not correcting him for laying down.
Apart, so I'm going to do something that I know will make him get up.
Okay, so she's forcing him to she's forcing him to react so she can correct it. Again, this tells me she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And if this were anybody else, like just a regular owner, I wouldn't have this kind of attitude towards them. But the fact that she's just straight up lying and she's, calls herself rehabilitation and, she's a trainer and she's promoting this, I don't have patience for that.
Good boy.
Good.
Yeah, good boy.
No reward. Oh, yeah, no, let's go pet you with the handle and just remind you we have it. That's not what she's doing, but the dog gave a lip lick. She just stepped towards him. He gave a lip lick because he's nervous.
He's like, where's the food? Yeah,
why don't you give him food? Because she's joking at it because she knows that he's had food before from food trainers, possibly, or the owners. I'll say, I won't say food trainers. From positive reinforcement trainers who would give him food. And now she's like, nope, there's no food. You only get correction.
I'll take food.
Exactly. It would make him that much better. Look at those whale eyes.
Right here.
Yeah.
Down. Good boy.
Lip lick. You just forced him. That was your fault. You put too much pressure on him. This is how not to do it. If you want to know how to not desensitize a dog, do this.
Good boy. And I just don't have food on me, but I'd like give him a piece of food.
Oh, baloney. I don't believe that. That's bullshit and you know it.
Good boy, buddy. Yeah. So
if you did, you wouldn't have to use 3 collars on this dog.
Move it away from him. I don't want him to think that it's always going to go towards him. Good boy.
That was the best thing you could do.
Good boy.
Moving the way, lip lick.
Settle in. There you go. Now, all that I'm cueing with this, if I was going to do
Jesus,
it with a
woman.
leash. Good boy. Down. Settle in.
He's
There you
laying
go.
down.
Now, all that I'm cueing with this. If
Jesus, you're tapping that continuously? Wow.
I'm going to do it with a leash.
What level is
the
it
reason
at?
I have so many boxes is because, as you can see, this room is still a wreck. Probably will be for a while. Good job, buddy. Break.
Again, lip
Hang on,
lick
hang on.
tries
Nice
to
and
run
easy.
for his life the second he's free. Great.
Sit. It's another thing
Prong.
too. When you leave the situation of
Possibly
something nervous, you want to make sure you really
Lip lick.
take your time. You don't want to. You can't let your dog rush out.
Well, if your dog rushes out, another lip lick, that means you're working too fast. You made him too nervous. You're not helping him. You're forcing him.
Lay down, bud. Go boy.
I'm sure she used her shock out,
Down.
prong collar, and I'm sure
Good
shock
boy.
collar. I can't say
Good boy.
definitively, but if she's cueing him, she says with quotation marks I put. If she says she's cueing him with that, then I'm pretty sure she's probably tapping him with the shock collar. Not just once, but a couple of times. I thought you just released him. You released him, and you didn't want him to run off. So now what? He goes back to training? You changed your mind?
Figured he'd get up.
You figured he'd get up
No.
like he did.
Sit.
I'm sure shocking.
Down. Good. So really,
Maybe not.
really
Look
gentle
at him.
guidance. You don't do like big corrections when it
It doesn't matter. He has a shock collar and a prong collar on, and he's forced to sit around in a corner with boxes.
comes to this.
Right thing.
So if he was to
This is flooding 101.
completely get up, let me go behind him because he'll find an escape route.
If you're training your dog not to be afraid of something, and you know that they need an escape route, and they're going to go for that escape route, you're working way too fast. If I'm working with a dog and I'm working on something that makes them nervous, and I'm desensitizing them, I want them to have an escape route. Because otherwise they're going to panic and run through me or hurt themselves. I want them to have multiple escape routes. I would never corner a dog when working, or any animal, when working with something that scares them. Touching his poor little foot. God, this poor little
Pretty
guy.
darn good.
This is not helping him at all.
Pretty darn good.
This is flooding. This is not going to make him more confident. Jesus, this poor dog. Just push him
Good
past
boy.
his limit. Lip
I
lick.
figured he'd get up. Well, I don't want to do any more than this.
Jesus,
If
he
he's
just touched it
successful
with
at
his nose and
something
he
that's
freaks
difficult,
out.
I certainly don't want to ruin that, so I'll just move
Ruin that. You already ruined him. I mean, not that, of course, you can fix him. There's nothing with him that's ruined, but just, you have, just totally messed up any possibility of, you have just made him more fearful of boxes and less trusting of you. He knows he cannot trust you.
What is that?
Lip lick.
Oh, it's just a piece of fuzz. See something red on the carpet. I'm like, oh my god. All right, so let me just show you then
Poor
how to
Say, let me eat
if a
that
dog
fuzz.
completely gets up. Break. Whoa, easy
Ouch.
there, bud. Easy there, bud. If your dog completely gets up, you just want. Let's go. No, let's go.
Ouch.
Gentle guidance back. Really gentle.
It's not really, you can say gentle,
If
but he
you've
has a
done
little
your
prong collar on. Nothing gentle about that.
That's all you need. And if sit,
God dang, he's thin.
sit.
I mean, I know a lot of people like to see ribs on a dog, but Jesus. That's a bit thin.
Good. Down. Good. That's not a down. Sit. Good boy. Down. If you've done your training.
You can't even teach him down without having to force him with the collar. I think you have more things to worry about than
That's
working
all
on
you
the
need.
boxes.
And use food. Definitely use food. He doesn't have to have food. Sometimes we use it. Sometimes we don't. That way it's not overly, overly stimulated, because sometimes he will get overly stimulated with food.
Yeah, because God forbid you use something that would actually help him feel comfortable in the situation. Maybe happy.
and get more jittery. But we definitely use, you know, the really good...
I don't believe that. I really don't, honestly. That's my own personal opinion. I don't believe she uses food at all. Maybe when she has to, but I don't believe it. This dog
stuff
is really
for this,
thin.
like the chicken, but that's how you would facilitate.
I mean, I'm not saying anybody's starving this dog purposely. I'm just saying, to me, it just looks thin. I happen to notice that.
That just really gentle. And if stuff like this is too much for them, I mean, when we first started, I mean, the boxes were here, and I was making noise. Watch out, Happy. I was making noise with the boxes way out
too much here.
Not right up on top of them.
Now, you want to work the dog at a threshold level where they are not getting up or failing the exercise constantly. Okay, I'm just showing you what to do when that happens, because it will. But 99% of the time, you want the dog to be successful.
If your dog gets up because you work too fast and you made too much noise and put too much pressure on them, you don't need to use a prong collar and e-collar. You don't need to go correcting them. Just simply give them a break. And then next time, you take accountability and do it less. Move further away. Put them under threshold. Make less noise.
Yet continue to be challenging. Here they get to play in the same room where we work with the boxes
got a shot
every
collar,
morning.
prong collar
that
on
way it doesn't just represent one thing.
This other dog has a shot collar on. Slip lead.
Place. Down. Very good. Look at you maneuvering. Good job.
See how much more attentive he is when you just give him a tiny piece of food?
Chicken. Oh, yes. Down.
Get that. She shocked him there. Because I saw the light turn red. Watch this light.
Good job. I'll do anything for chicken. Oh, yes. Down.
Red. Shocked him. Didn't need to do that. She's going to constantly walk around with this. People like this want to talk about how you rely on food forever. No, you rely on this. The dog's wearing this 24/7. It's only ever meant to be used specifically for, just for training. I mean, you're going to rely on a remote and having a charged shot collar on your dog 24/7 versus using food every now and then.
Now I'm actually going to make him zigzag where he has to really...
That's not realistic. That's just stupid. How many opportunities are you going to have to make your dog zigzag? Now, if you wanted to do this to really prepare your dog that they can do it and you're not forcing them, that's terrific. If you really want to see how confident you can make them, that's awesome. Work your way through that. But I wouldn't suggest using this.
Here, come. Nope, you can't go that way. Good boy. Good job. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Yes! All right. Down. Are you excited? You did it. Down. See that excitement when he came back to me? I mean, some jitteriness, too. There's definitely some nervousness.
So he can't even lay down, right, which is not a fault of the dog. She can't even get him to lay down with just the word once. She has to rely on the shock. Why is she working on all this other stuff? She doesn't even have the basics down. Didn't she say you need to have the basics down? I sound harsh and critical, but it really bothers me when I see people spreading straight up misinformation or just straight up lies, and they do this to animals, and make you think that it's only one way when it's not at all. This is not necessary. So anyway, that's just my opinion. What do I know? Who am I? I'm a nobody. But thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to everybody who watches. I really appreciate all the kind words, the awesome comments that you all leave for me. It really means the world to me. So thank you so much for all that. Go give your critters some good loving. Say howdy do for me. And until next time, stay positive.